These photos will destroy you. Diana's voice dripped with satisfaction as she waved a manila envelope in my face. The judge won't let an abusive mother keep her children. I stood in my kitchen, gripping the counter to steady myself as my stepmother's words sank in. My name is Emma Mitchell, and at 34, I was watching my worst nightmare unfold. What photos? I managed to ask, my voice steadier than I felt. Diana's perfectly painted lips curved into a cruel smile. Oh, just some evidence of those bruises you've been inflicting on Sophie and Max. Very convincing ones, I might add. She pulled out several photographs, spreading them across my kitchen counter like a twisted art display. My heart stopped. The photos showed my children, Sophie, 8, and Max, 6, with what appeared to be bruises and marks on their arms and legs. But I knew I hadn't caused them because they didn't exist. This is insane, I said, picking up one of the photos. These are fake, and you know it. Diana laughed, the sound sharp and cold. Prove it. Your father and I have been documenting your episodes for months. The court will believe us, the concerned grandparents, over you, the unstable single mother. My mind raced. Diana had been pushing for this ever since my divorce 2 years ago. She'd married my father when I was 16, and from day one, she'd been trying to prove I was unfit for, well, everything. Why are you doing this? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Because you don't deserve them, she spat. Your father and I can give them everything. Private schools, vacation homes, the best of everything. What can you offer? A cramped 3-bedroom house and a teacher's salary? What Diana didn't know was that I'd been preparing for something like this. After she accidentally called CPS on me 6 months ago with false allegations, I'd installed hidden cameras throughout my house. Every room except the bathrooms had 24/7 surveillance backing up to a secure cloud server only I could access. I'm taking these to a lawyer tomorrow. Diana continued, gathering the photos. Expect a court summons soon. Your father will be filing for emergency custody. I watched her stride toward the door, her designer heels clicking against my hardwood floors. Oh, and Emma, she paused, turning back with a smirk. Don't bother trying to run. We've already spoken to the police about our concerns. After she left, I sank into a kitchen chair, my hands shaking as I pulled out my phone. I clicked on the hidden camera app, rewinding to an hour ago. There was Diana entering my house while I was at the grocery store. The footage showed her pulling something from her expensive handbag, makeup, special effects supplies. She moved room to room, taking photos, then editing them on her tablet. Everything. The cameras had caught everything. I quickly backed up the footage to 3 separate locations, then called my friend Sarah, who happened to be a digital forensics expert. I need your help, I said when she answered. How quickly can you analyze some video footage? Give me an hour, she replied without hesitation. What am I looking for? Evidence of someone staging fake abuse photos of my kids. Diana's making her move. Sarah's sharp intake of breath was audible. She'd been warning me about Diana's escalating behavior for months. Send me everything. And Emma, call your lawyer. Now. I hung up and stared at the photos Diana had left behind. They were convincing, professional-level editing that would fool most people at first glance. But the cameras had caught her in the act, and I knew my kids had no marks on them when they left for their weekend with their father this morning. My hands stopped shaking as determination set in. Diana thought she had me cornered, thought I would crumble under the pressure. She'd underestimated me, again. Opening my laptop, I began documenting everything. Every threatening comment, every manipulative move she'd made over the past months. The hidden cameras had been my insurance policy, and now they would be my salvation. My phone buzzed with a text from Diana. Enjoy your last few days with them. They'll be better off with us. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded the message to my lawyer, adding it to the growing pile of evidence. Diana wanted to play hardball. Fine, but she was about to learn that a mother protecting her children was a force she shouldn't have underestimated. The next few hours were a blur of phone calls and preparations. Sarah was analyzing the footage, my lawyer was preparing emergency motions, and I was gathering every scrap of evidence I had. Diana might have money and influence, but I had truth and technology on my side. As I worked, I glanced at the family photo on my desk. Sophie and Max's smiling faces beaming back at me. Don't worry, I whispered. Mommy's got this. Diana had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I received a text from my father. "We need to talk about the kids. Come to the house at 2 p.m. I could almost hear Diana's influence in his words. My once loving father had become her puppet, dancing to whatever tune she played. I'd arrived at their sprawling mansion exactly on time, my phone recording in my pocket. Sarah had helped me set up a direct stream to her computer. Everything that happened would be backed up instantly. Diana opened the door, her perfect mask of concern firmly in place. My father sat in his study, looking grave. The photos were spread across his mahogany desk. "Emma," he started, his voice heavy. "How could you?" "Really, Dad?" I kept my voice steady. "You actually believe I would hurt my own children?" "We have proof," Diana interjected, placing a manicured hand on my father's shoulder. "Multiple witnesses have noticed the children's conditions." "What witnesses?" I challenged. "The school nurse, for one," Diana smiled triumphantly. "She's already provided a statement." I pulled out my phone, pulling up an email. "You mean a statement from Mrs. Thompson? The one where she confirmed she's never seen any signs of abuse on Sophie or Max? The one she sent me this morning after your interesting visit to the school yesterday?" Diana's smile faltered slightly. "That's not. And here's something else interesting," I continued, swiping to another document. "The timestamps on these photos you took. They match perfectly with footage I have of you entering my house yesterday while I was out." The color draining from Diana's face. My father looked between us, confusion evident in his expression. "What is she talking about?" he asked Diana. "She's lying," Diana snapped. "She's trying to deflect from her own guilt. Think about it, James. We've seen the bruises ourselves." "Have you?" I asked quietly. "Have you actually seen any marks on Sophie and Max? Or have you only seen these photos?" My father's brow furrowed. I could see doubt creeping into his eyes. "The kids are at soccer practice right now," I continued. "Why don't we go see them? Check for these supposed bruises." "That's not necessary," Diana cut in quickly. "We have all the evidence we need." "Diana," my father's voice had changed. "What's going on?" I pulled out my tablet, queuing up the footage Sarah had enhanced. Maybe this will help explain. The video played crystal clear. Diana entering my house, pulling out makeup and special effects supplies, carefully staging and photographing fake injuries, then editing the images on her tablet. "You install cameras?" Diana's voice was shrill. "That's illegal." "In my own home?" "Perfectly legal, especially after the false CPS report you filed 6 months ago. I have that recorded too, by the way, your phone call from my kitchen when you thought I was at work." My father stood up slowly, his face ashen. "Diana, tell me you didn't." But Diana was already shifting strategies, tears welling up in her eyes. "I was only trying to protect them. She's not fit to be a mother. Living in that tiny house, working all those hours. The children deserve better." "They deserve their mother." My father's voice was quiet but firm. "Their real mother who would never hurt them." "The police have been notified," I said, standing up. "They're very interested in these fraudulent photos, especially since you tried to file a false report with them yesterday." Diana's tears dried instantly, replaced by cold fury. "You ungrateful little—" "Choose your next words carefully," I interrupted. "You're already facing charges for filing false reports and attempting to manipulate custody proceedings. Threats won't help your case." The sound of cars pulling up outside drew our attention. Through the window, I could see 2 police vehicles parking in the circular driveway. "That would be Detective Martinez," I said. "She's very interested in speaking with you about those photos." Diana's perfectly composed facade crumbled completely. "James, you can't let them." But my father had moved away from her, looking at the photos on his desk with horror. "I trusted you," he whispered. "I believed you when you said Emma was unstable, that she was hurting them. How could you do this?" The doorbell rang, its chime echoing through the massive house. Diana's eyes darted around like a trapped animal, but there was nowhere to run. I gathered my things, heading for the door. "By the way," I turned back to face them, "the kids are perfect, not a mark on them. They're at home with their aunt, making cookies and probably creating a huge mess in my tiny kitchen, in my humble house, with their working mother who loves them more than anything in this world." As I opened the door to let the police in, I heard my father say something I never expected. "I'm so sorry, Emma." Diana's perfectly planned scheme was unraveling, and I was finally going to have peace. The weeks following Diana's arrest were a whirlwind of legal proceedings and family revelations. She was charged with multiple offenses, including filing false reports and attempting to manipulate custody proceedings. The evidence was overwhelming. My hidden cameras had captured not just the photo staging, but months of her entering my house without permission, planting evidence, and plotting against me. My father, finally seeing Diana's true colors, filed for divorce. He came to my house one evening, looking older than I'd ever seen him. "I should have seen it sooner," he said, sitting at my kitchen table while Sophie and Max played in the backyard. "All those years she was poisoning me against you, and I let her." I handed him a cup of coffee, watching my children through the window. "Why did you believe her, Dad? Did you really think I could hurt them?" He stared into his cup, shame evident on his face. "She was convincing." Started small, pointing out things I'd never noticed before. A bruise from soccer became suspicious. A tired day at school became neglect. Before I knew it, I was seeing everything through her lens. The sound of children's laughter drifted in from outside. Sophie was pushing Max on the swing, both of them giggling uncontrollably. "They're happy, Dad," I said softly. "They're loved. That's all that matters." "I know that now," he replied, his voice thick with emotion. "Can you ever forgive me?" I thought about all the pain, the stress, the constant fear of losing my children. But I also thought about the father who'd raised me before Diana, the man who taught me to be strong and stand up for what's right. "We'll work on it," I said finally. "But you need to work on rebuilding trust with Sophie and Max too." He nodded, understanding the long road ahead. The criminal case against Diana moved quickly. The evidence was irrefutable, and her attempts to manipulate the situation only made things worse. She tried to claim she was protecting the children, that she had genuine concerns, but the methodical nature of her deception proved otherwise. During her sentencing hearing, she still couldn't admit her wrongdoing. "I was doing what any good grandmother would do," she declared to the judge. "Those children deserve better than a small house and a working mother." The judge wasn't impressed. "What these children deserve," he stated firmly, "is to be protected from manipulative adults who would use them as pawns." Ms. Mitchell showed remarkable foresight in protecting herself and her children from your schemes. Diana was sentenced to jail time and ordered to pay substantial restitution. More importantly, she was barred from having any contact with my children. Sarah, my friend who'd helped analyze the footage, helped me upgrade my home security system. "No more surprise visits from crazy stepmothers," she said as she installed new cameras. "Though I have to admit, your hidden camera setup was pretty brilliant." Life slowly returned to normal. Sophie and Max continued to thrive, their lives untouched by the drama thanks to my efforts to shield them from it. My father began attending their soccer games again, sitting quietly on the sidelines, gradually earning back his place in their lives. One evening, as I tucked Sophie into bed, she asked me a question that caught me off guard. "Mom, why doesn't Grandma Diana come around anymore?" I sat on the edge of her bed, choosing my words carefully. "Sometimes, honey, people who say they love us don't show it in the right way. Grandma Diana made some bad choices that meant she couldn't be part of our lives anymore." Sophie thought about this for a moment. "That's sad for her," she said finally, "because we're awesome." I laughed, hugging her tight. "Yes, we are." Today, 6 months after Diana's sentencing, I sat in my tiny living room, watching my kids build a pillow fort. My father was helping them, laughing as Max accidentally knocked down one of the walls. The house might not be a mansion, but it was filled with love, laughter, and security, things Diana never understood the value of. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Guest is trying to appeal her sentence." I smiled, typing back, "Good thing we kept all the evidence." Diana's attempt to destroy my family had failed, but it had taught me valuable lessons about trust, strength, and the lengths a mother will go to protect her children. My tiny house had become a fortress, not through size or luxury, but through love and vigilance. As I watched my family play, I realized that sometimes the biggest victories come from simply being prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. Diana had underestimated not just my intelligence, but my determination to protect what mattered most. My children were safe, happy, and loved. In the end, that was all that ever mattered.